happy Monday, new week, which means we got a new Fan 5, new challenges. And honestly, you might not even be watching this video because it's a virtual Monday that's optional. It's a teacher work day. But if you were lucky enough to check Canvas or check your email today, you saw you had Fan 5, you saw a review video. And if you're watching this video, not only is it going to help you with Fan 5 for the rest of the week, but it could provide you with something that could help you during the auction in a couple of weeks. Hint, hint, wink, wink. So make sure you're watching. All right. This Fan 5 is pretty challenging. Never had a question like 4. Never had a question like 2. Never really had a question like 1. I guess we've had one like 1 last week, kind of similar. Hardest question on here is probably going to be 5. No answer choices, and we struggled with it last week. So that one's on here for a reason. I'm just going to show you how I would solve them. If you want to take notes, awesome. You can always use them on Fan 5 for the rest of the week. But we're going to get right into it here. So number 1 says, Jared has $9. Aaron has 3 times as much money as Jared. Greg has 4 more dollars than Aaron. How much money do they have combined? There's a lot of stuff in there. So if you think about number 5 last week where we could put a visual to the question, and I think we said read a little, do a little 1,000 times. We can read a little and do a little on this one. First thing I would do, though, if I'm dealing with these 3 people, to start my visual, I'd make a chart. I got Jared. I got Aaron. I've got Greg. Jag. All right, so for Jared, I already know he has $9. I can go ahead and put that in the chart. All right, Aaron has 3 times as much money as Jared. Aaron has 3 times, what is this? Remind me later. Has 3 times as much money as Jared. Well, if Jared has $9, 3 times as much as that would mean that Aaron's got $27. Greg has 4 more dollars than Aaron. So we just figured out that Aaron had 27, 4 more than that would be $31. So I know Jared has $9, Aaron has $27, Greg has $31. The question says how much money do they have combined? So I got to take all these numbers. I wouldn't do them all at once. I'd maybe do Aaron and Greg first. 27 plus 31. 7 plus 1 is 8. 3 plus 2 is 5. Then I would take Jared's total of 9 and add that, and I would get D, $67. So that's really like the type of chart or the type of visual that I'm looking for this week. Obviously, you don't have to do a picture. You can rely on your keywords, but that picture shows you exactly what numbers to use. And as long as you're reading the question carefully, you'll be able to get that one right. So that one's got some similarities between number 5 last week and number 1 this week. That's another one where the math isn't necessarily that hard. You just got to make sure you're reading that question. All right, number 2 is probably my favorite question on here because it goes exactly with what we're talking about in class. And you cannot get this question right unless you give a little bit of effort. And it's very similar to those questions where you can take the answer choices and plug them in. It says, my rectangular living room has an area of 40 square feet and a perimeter of 28 feet. What could be the length and the width? So we haven't had one like this where it gives me the area and the perimeter. Now, just a little quick review. To find the area, we do length times width. To do the perimeter, we do side plus side plus side plus side. So this is one of those questions where we split the board into 4 sections. We drew 4 different rectangles, and we plug these in. So I'm just going to show you, let's look at answer choice A. It says 20 feet by 2 feet. That would mean 20 feet long, 2 feet wide. First thing I would do is I wouldn't even worry about the perimeter yet. I would worry about the area, length times width. If I did 20 times 2, that would give me 40. That would match the area that it gives me. All right. Then if it matches the area, I could check and see if it matches the perimeter. My opposite sides are equal. 20 on top, 20 on the bottom, 2 on the sides. Now, if I did side plus side, 20 plus 20 is going to give me 40. That's already way more than what my perimeter is. So even though 20 feet by 2 feet works for the area, it doesn't match the perimeter. All right, so again, draw my rectangle. Let me try B, 10 feet by 4 feet. It says the area is 40 square feet. Length times width, 10 times 4. That would match. But if I try the perimeter, got to add all the sides. The opposite sides are equal. 10 plus 10 gives me 20. 4 plus 4 gives me 8. If I add those together, that would also match my perimeter. So if I have a rectangle that's 10 feet long, 4 feet wide, that would have my area of 40 that I'm looking for, my perimeter of 20 that I'm looking for. My answer would be B. Now, I'll check C and D anyways, just so I can prove that my answer is correct. If I put 8 feet by 5 feet, length times width to get my area, 8 times 5 is 40. That matches. But if I added all the way around, that would give me a perimeter of 26. So I'm a little bit short there. And then on D, I could actually stop a little early, because if I just focus on the area first, 7 feet by 4 feet, if I do 7 times 4, that gives me an area of 28. That doesn't even match the area, so I'd be able to eliminate that one too. So the only thing different with that question than the ones we did in class, instead of just giving me the area and saying, hey, what could be the length and the width, it gives me the area and the perimeter. So that one's not completely brand new, definitely a little bit different, but if you just take the time to plug in those answer choices, you can get that one right. All right, number 3. I like this question a lot. It's a review from, like a month now of what we used to talk about in math. We started talking with factors and multiples. So this question says, I am an odd number. What does this say? Bear with me. Important emails. Nah, I don't care about that. I'm an odd number. I am a factor of 27, 36, and 45. What number am I? Now, first of all, you got to remember what a factor is. And if you remember when we talked about listing factor pairs, a factor is a number that you can multiply to get a certain product. So if it's a factor of 27, that means I can do something times one of these numbers to get 27, 36, and 45. Start with the odd number part, guys. You shouldn't waste any time with 4. 4 is an even number. That right there automatically gives me a chance to get this question right. Got a 33% chance now. So I would just start with 5. Remember, if 5 is going to be a factor of a number, it's got to end in 5 or 0. 5 is a factor of 36, 5 times 9, but I can't do 5 times anything to get 27 or 36. That one would be gone. All right. For B, I can't do 7 times anything to get 27, 7 times anything to get 36, or 7 times 7 or anything to get 45. That would be gone. That leaves me with my answer of 9. 9 is an odd number. I can do 9 times 3 to get 27, 9 times 4 to get 36, 9 times 5 to get 45. It fits all the requirements. That answer would be D. Now, tomorrow it might ask for an even number. You got to look at that part carefully. Eliminate answers if you can. Makes that one a little bit easier. And once again, if you know your facts, you are doing yourself a favor, because that question is not as challenging if you just know your multiplication. All right, looking at number 4. Now, this is definitely not something you've seen before. And this is actually not something we're going to look at till the very end of the year. This is one of the very last things that we learn about. So, question asks, what is the measure of the missing angle? So you can see we're trying to fit a number right here. So we're going to talk about a few different types of angles this year. And you should have an idea of these already. And my pictures are not going to be perfect. You've got a right angle, and I actually might be able to do like straight lines on here. Let me do them right here. So I can do, nope, I'm not going to do it that way. You could have a right angle, which is 90 degrees. It should be straight, it's not. You could have an acute angle, which is less than 90 degrees. Or you could have an obtuse angle, which is more than 90. Okay, so right here, an acute angle is less than 90 degrees. So that would be an example of an acute angle. And then there's another type of angle, which you can see here. We call this a straight angle. The straight line that goes across the bottom, that is a straight angle. That whole thing is 180 degrees. We have done questions similar to this math-wise. So think about this. Let me draw that back on there. If I know this whole thing has to be equal to 180, and I already have 77 of that 180, what could I do to figure out what's left? Well, I can take my 180 degrees, take out those 77, and whatever I have left will fit in that angle. So 0 minus 7, you can't do it. More on the floor, go next door. This 8 changes to a 7. This 0 is now a 10. 10 minus 7 would give me 3. 7 minus 7 would give me 0. Bring down the 1, and that would give me D, 103 degrees. The angle that is missing, this one right here, is an obtuse angle because it's more than 90 degrees. It would be 103 degrees. So again, little recap. You could have a right angle, which is a perfect del. You could have an acute angle that's less than 90, an obtuse angle more than 90, or you can have this one going across the bottom, that straight angle, 180 degrees. That one's going to take some time. Okay, so I'm not really necessarily stressing out over that question right now. Give it a few days. A few times seeing that video will help, but that one should have been D. Number 5. Been looking forward to this one. I told you in class, and I don't know if you were virtual last week, you probably didn't hear this, but I said I'm going to bring this question back, except no words, no answer choices, just do the math. Boom. So we got 46 times 76. I'm going to show you 2 different ways today. So I'll show you the way we did it last week, starting in the ones place. 6 times 6, 36. 6 stays, 3 goes. Going across here, 6 times 4, 24, plus 3, 27. Boom. All right, I multiplied by my ones place, so I'll cross out the ones, get rid of any of those numbers I carried over. I'm going to come down here, start a second line, put my placeholder, put down my 0, so I know exactly where I'm going to put my next number. So I'm looking over here in the tens place. I'm going to go 7 times 6, get 42, 2 stays, 4 goes, and then we go here to the tens place. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 4 more is 32, 2 stays, 3 goes, and then I just got to add those numbers together. 6 plus 0 is 6. 7 plus 2 is 9, 2 plus 2 is 4, bring down that 3, and if you multiplied correctly, you should have had 3,496. Now, I'm going to show you a way that if you just haven't been able to knock out that 2-digit by 2-digit multiplication, this could potentially help you. We call it the area model. So you're going to start by drawing a big old box. You're going to split it into 4 sections. You're going to put some numbers at the top, some numbers over here on the side. So let's start with 46. I'm going to take that number, I'm going to split it by its place value. So I've got a number in the ones place, I've got a number in the tens place. So where that line is split, those numbers on each side, I'm going to have each of those numbers represented, 1 here, 1 here. Now, that 4 is in the tens place. That means I have 4 tens. If you have 4 tens, you would put a 4 and add 1 0. If I have 6 ones, I would just put a 6 right here. So that 46 is broken down into 40 and 6. Same thing for 76. I've got 7 tens. That number would break down to 70. That 6 would just be 6. So I kind of want you to think about these numbers as cars traveling. The 40 can only travel down. The 6 can only travel down. The 70 can only travel across. The 6 can only travel across. In each of these 4 boxes, you are going to be multiplying 2 numbers. You're going to multiply the 2 numbers that if these were cars, when they're traveling, right where they would crash. So in this box right here, I'm going to be doing 40 times 70 because when I go down and across, these 2 would meet here. All right, in the box right below it, if that 40 was traveling down and this 6 was traveling across, they would hit here. In this box, I do 40 times 6. Same thing over here. When this 6 is traveling down, 70 coming across, I would do 70 times 6 in this box. And down here, 6 would travel, 6 would travel. I would do 6 times 6. Now, some of you are probably watching that and thinking, Mr. Huber, I can't do 46 times 76. Why in the world do you think I'm going to be able to do 40 times 70? Well, guys, when the number ends in 0, it's almost like it's not even there. It makes this a lot easier. When you have multiplication and you have numbers that end in 0, ignore them for just a minute. So looking at 40 and 70, instead of doing 40 times 70, just do 4 times 7, which is 28. And then whatever zeros you ignored, add them to the 28. Just like that. I can do the same thing for 40 times 6. Instead of doing 40 times 6, I'll just do 4 times 6, which is 24. And then I'll add that 0 that I ignored. 70 times 6, I'll just do 7 times 6 and get 42. Add that 0 that I ignored. And 6 times 6, we should just know is 36. Now, once you've got those numbers, then all you got to do is add them up. I like to do 2 at a time. 2800 plus 240. Cross them off as I go. 420 plus 36 gives me 456. If I added those together, I'd get the same answer. Now, you still have to know your multiplication to be able to do it that way. And yes, that's more work. But if you're somebody who's struggling with that 2-digit by 2-digit, I'll show you that strategy every single video. Might be something that you can use in the future. Whether or not you do is completely up to you. All right, guys. So again, optional video, didn't have to watch it. If you are still here, if you are watching this video, what I would like you to do is send me an email. And in your email, all I want you to do is tell me your rose and your thorn. Everybody got that? If you're watching this video, send me your rose and your thorn, and I will have a boatload of tickets for you whenever you return. If you're watching this, I appreciate it. Way to give a lot of extra effort. It's going to help you out this week. All right, y'all. See you tomorrow.